If you are new to spirituality, part 2. If you missed part 1, go catch that. But this is part 2, and I'm going to talk about what to be prepared for, what to stay away from, and the do's and don'ts as you begin to navigate this journey. Let's talk about it. What's up, QC fam? It is Queen Chef, author, healer. I am a chef by trade, writer by gift, healer by nature. I talk all things healing, and I like to do so from the perspective of 4 pillars, if you will, that I have divided to make the healing journey easier. And those are self-love, energy alignment, inner child wounds, and purpose discovery. They all tie into healing and the conversations that I have on this channel, because it is all about self-mastery and spirituality. And healing is absolutely going to get you to the ultimate level of self-mastery and spirituality. So let's get into it, y'all. I'm kind of excited for this one, I'm not gonna lie, because these are the things that I feel like every person who is entering a new journey needs to hear. And sometimes you run into the information before you get your footing, before you can even just kind of lay a foundation within yourself. So real quick, I'm gonna do a quick recap of part 1. Y'all know I got my notes over here, so you see me looking to the side. That's what I'm doing. You know, I take my little job as a teacher, as a healer, real serious. You know, I got my little notes here. I got my whiteboard. Anyways, y'all don't care about all that. Let's get into it. So part 1 was about unlearning and shadow work, what that process is gonna look like, be like. And real quick, one thing I didn't do directly, those 4 pillars that I just mentioned in my intro, I'm gonna give you the steps and what that looks like as it relates to what we talked about in video 1, in part 1, about the unlearning and the shadow work. So the first pillar I mentioned was self-love. And what that, from my perspective and on the healing journey, what that is, the questions you're going to answer and what matters in that particular category is addressing who you are, what made you that way. And then as you unlearn, there is a new acceptance of who you are without all the problems, without all the issues. There's a acceptance of yourself with all that has happened. You know, that's ultimately, that is what is required for love. Shout out to Bell Hooks in her book, All About Love. The acceptance, for me, when we talk about love, that is the biggest factor, that is the biggest part. So when you talk about self-love, you're going to have to really accept yourself, and that is good, bad, ugly, old, what has already happened, and then we focus on where we're going. The second pillar is the energy alignment. What that is about is identifying who you are now, identifying who you want to be, and your energy aligns with the creator, with God. For these videos, I'm going to use God, but please understand, God is whomever is the God of your understanding. I personally, when in my life, how I refer is, I usually say the Most High. That's what resonates with me. You on your own journey, and you're going to figure out what works for you. I promise. So, aligning, your energy begins to align by connecting to God, by building that relationship. And how do you build relationships? You spend time. For me, my method, when I would need the ultimate energy alignment, I'm outside. Now it's cold right now, and I've been struggling. I haven't been on a hike in about a month, and I'm struggling a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, because that's the way that's the path that I carved out for me. Hiking became a new hobby, and it's so freaking therapeutic that's my thing. That's my stuff. I might have to hit one of these hills in the cold. I don't know. But the third pillar, inner child wounds. You connect to your higher self by healing those inner child wounds. And let me say this, not even just your higher self. You cannot truly connect until you heal that inner child, because one, your higher self is going to help guide you through this healing journey. That's what you need to know. And Ifa, we used to say our Ori. My Ori is the most important Orisha there is, because that is your ultimate guide. That is how you truly connect and build that relationship, by knowing that your Ori is all right here first. So your higher self, we call that Ori. And I corrected myself, and I don't want to just say higher self, but how you connect to the higher realm in general. You have to go back and do that shadow work. You cannot skip the part of healing those inner child wounds, healing those things in you that you know aren't quite right or just simply needs to be addressed. And as you do that, you'll be able to connect better and more frequently to your higher self, to your spirit team, and to God. That is how you get the ultimate and most clear, I'll say that, the most clear connection to that higher realm. Last one, purpose discovery. Now, purpose discovery is all about, once you've done all the other three, this one's last on purpose, because now this is all about determining what is your soul's destiny. What were you put on this earth to do? Those are the primary questions for that particular pillar. Those are the things that, and I wrote it out that way because that's literally how it happened for me. Those are the steps I used. Those are the steps I took. Self-love, then aligning that energy, then addressing those inner child wounds. Now that I'm aligned and I'm prepared, I can do that. I'm brave enough to do that. Because let me tell you what happened. This kind of getting into the don'ts, but what a lot of people will, once you get to that part of the new spirituality journey, once you get to that part where it's really time to face yourself, face the things you've done, the decisions you've made, the things that you've been through, if you have really traumatic experiences, but just those wounds in general, once it's really time to face that, a lot of people run. They turn around and they go back to wherever they came from. If it was the church, a lot of people will go back. Because like I told you in that first video, it's a lot of introspection, self-awareness, and accountability that goes into shadow work. So if you're doing it right, there's a lot of accountability that goes into it. And because this not about cutting people off so you ain't got to apologize knowing you was wrong. No, this is, if you cutting people off, it's because they're no longer healthy for you and you've done all you can do maybe for those interpersonal relationships or whatever. But this is not about running. And so I said that to say, when a lot of people get to that particular part, they turn around and they run back. So that's why I did self-love, then energy alignment, then addressing those inner child wounds. Because once you've done the self-love and you've accepted who you are and you've done that energy alignment and you connect into the Most High, then you got that support that you need to get through addressing those inner child wounds. And then lastly, that purpose discovery. Because baby, once you've done them other three, you happy, you found peace. You got freedom, and then you are going to get the ultimate happiness once you know what you put on this earth to do. So I gotta go, y'all. Okay, I gotta keep going because we already on 8 minutes and I've only done the part 1 recap. So they're probably gonna be a 2.5, a part 2.5. Cause yeah. So what I want to talk about, part 2, what to be prepared for and what to stay away from. Now, first, I'm gonna give it to you in the form of do's and don'ts. And one of my first ones is do not, actually, I'm going to give you do's first. Do take your time. This is not a race. And the more that you try to take in and the faster you try to do it, it's going to cause more confusion than it is clarity. And it defeats the purpose. Like it's almost everything happens in cycles. And it's like you're just going to keep going in the same cycle and the same cycle. How I explain evolution from my understanding is evolution is not necessarily about doing this, but it's more so about doing this. You're expanding your mind. It's more expansion than it is elevation, because it's not about getting up in rank and none of that. Like, no, I don't care what you hear on the internet. I don't care what your favorite TikToker say. I don't care. It's not about elevation and rank in the spiritual realm. That's not what it's about. So do take your time. Also, do build your own relationships, first with yourself, like we talked about in part 1, and then with your spirit team. A lot of people are going to tell you the next step is to create an ancestor altar. I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm not going to tell you that is the right or wrong thing to do. Some people choose that path. It depends on where you rest in your spirituality, whether or not you want to deal whether or not you want to utilize the altar. In the beginning of my journey, I did have an altar. I had several, because I was also an Ifa practitioner. I am a priestess within the Ifa tradition, and so I had several. I had my Oshun altar. I had my Ifa at home. I had my ancestor altar. I absolutely did. However, for me personally, remember, and I'm sharing my experiences so you know who you learning from and where this understanding is coming from. Now, it's ancestral, it's sacred knowledge given to me straight from the ancestral realm. But I also want you to understand who I am in this realm also, because that's also on my what to stay away from list. Like, stay away from people who teach you in a way that they're trying to push you to do what they do, as if that is the only right thing to do. I don't believe in that. I don't care what you practice. I don't care what religious route you decide to go, whether you decide to stay spiritually single like myself. I don't care what happens. Stay away from people who try to push everything they know and they do on you. Like, that is the absolute only way to do it. There's something wrong with that. And I question anybody who calls himself a spiritualist, who is teaching and they teach that way, as if their way is the way, the truth, and the life. You might as well, you go back to church for that. So anyway, skipping all around because y'all know I will sidebar like crazy. But let's get back to the do's. Do your own research. Now, you're gonna run it, like I told y'all in the first video, you're gonna run into a lot of information online. You're gonna run into a lot of information all over the place. And like I said, it's a double-edged sword. I like it because we're getting to have conversations that we didn't get to have before. You're getting to find your tribe. You're getting to get your groove, find your community. And that's dope. I love it. But you are also going to have a lot of misinformation and people who are just jumping on the way. Y'all know, like it is with anything that becomes trendy. Don't do this as no trend. Like I said before, don't do this if it's about the aesthetic for you, because this is about your life. And this ain't just about your life here. This is about your destiny. This is about your soul evolving. You understand? So don't do it if it's just for the aesthetic or just because it's trendy. Do research. When you hear something, my best recommendation for this one, when you hear something that resonates with you, like, that sounds interesting, keep your mind open to different perspectives, but know that you don't have to take on every bit of information that you hear. I say that all the time because it's like, we'll hear something and you can absolutely hear a different perspective. Like, I can hear a different perspective and it's like, I don't have to take it on, nor do I have to even argue with it. It's like, okay, cool. That's what you believe. That's what's up. Because that's what this journey is ultimately about. You are going to learn to trust yourself in a radical way. You are going to learn, that is what you should be doing anyway. That should be your goal. Because again, all of this is about what is going internally. Because as above, so below. Whatever you got going on inside, that's what's going to reflect outside. So don't let all of your information and everything you believe come from outside of you. If you hear something that sounds interesting, somebody, doing an informative teaching or whatever, and it sounds like it makes sense to you, it resonates with you, stay there for a minute, sit with that, do some research on it. That might be the lane you're supposed to go. That might be the person who resonates with, what your new beliefs are. Or that might be the person who has the answers to the questions that you've been asking forever and you could never get those answers within a religious group. You know what I mean? So do your research to find your tribe, but also know that doing your research is the purpose of that is so that you can trust yourself with information and see how it feels to you. All of it is not going to make sense, like in terms of logic. But this is why it's also important to be in tune with you. And within that energy alignment pillar, when I break those down, I talk more about your intuition, fine-tuning that. Your discernment is going to be out of this world when you get to a certain part of this journey. And that's how it's supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to be able to call out a fake. But right now, in the beginning, you may not be able to. So do your research. Next, ground yourself. This is huge. This is the biggest. Like, a lot of people jump out here And like I said, everybody be ready for the aesthetic. They be ready to go get all the crystals, put on all the stuff, and look the part. That's cool. That's what's up. Like, if that's what you into, cool. I don't knock it. However, please understand, your body has energy centers. Part 3 is getting deeper into this particular about grounding yourself. But just a brief overview. Your body has energy centers. And those are called chakras. The primary 7, the heart is at the center. I have a theory that it's actually pinned to the top of my Facebook page, I think. But I have a theory, and the heart chakra is in the center for the middle. The heart chakra is in the center on purpose. It's in the middle because that is how you stay balanced. You got the 3 upper chakras, you got your 3 lower chakras, and then you got your heart chakra in the middle because that is how you stay balanced. It's not by accident. That is by design. And the reason I'm talking about that with the ground yourself is because a lot of people come into this, get all the stuff, get all the things. And like I said, me saying that over and over, it's not about me knocking the aesthetic. It's just people will spend a lot of time trying to get in tune with those upper chakras. So the third eye chakra, crown chakra, you'll spend a lot of time doing that. And then you neglect those lower chakras, which deal with the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus. You neglect those ones. And you ever met those people where it seemed like, I hate the term woo-woo because I'm all about it. Listen, everything is that deep for me. I'm all about it, but I'm going to use woo-woo for the sake of this video. You ever met the people that are just like all the time, 24/7 woo-woo, like everything? Now, I am a person who believes a lot more things are spiritual than what we give credit to. And a lot of people don't understand the spiritual nature of everything going on around them. And that's kind of why the world is the way it is. But I'm saying that to say, if you ever met one of those people that just seem like everything is about those higher chakras, everything is about the spiritual realm, everything, like they're never operating in the earth realm. It seems like they're never quite here. Like, imagine talking to somebody who is on shrooms like 24/7 a day. Like those people who seem like they always on something. And I don't like the negative connotation, so I want to be careful with that, because I don't like the negative connotation of that as if there was something wrong with that or with plant medicine in that regard. That's not what I'm saying. Everybody have their path, like I said. But what I am saying is you are a spirit being, but you do have to learn how to operate as a human being as well. This is not getting in touch with, here's a good way to put it. Getting in touch with yourself spiritually is not an escape from your human experience. Don't think of it like that. So do ground yourself. And basically, all that means is take care of your physical body. You're going to learn on this journey. It's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to give up. I had to give up drinking like I was out of my damn mind. I grew up drinking real heavy. And for everybody, it's going to be something different. Right now, I'm in a little battle with whether or not I'm truly going vegan or not. You know what I mean? I did pescatarianism. I've done veganism. And I always deal with those things, but I never fully committed like for my lifetime. I never said, okay, I'm no longer doing that. I say, let me try this out. And I've tried out different things, but as you evolve, as you grow, your body gonna tell you what don't sit right with you no more. And yeah, so I'm in a little battle right now with me. But the point is, as you evolve and as you grow, you just got to trust the process to know your body's going to tell you when and what it's time to let go. So take care of your physical body. That is a part of your grounding, eating properly, hydrating yourself, and intentionally hydrating yourself properly. That's a lot of us skip that, and hydration is such a big deal. Like, I ain't gonna get into a health video. That's something else. But hydration is a huge deal, and Taking care of your physical body is a huge part of grounding. Now, my other grounding practices, I did talk about hiking. That's more like energy alignment for me. It's more of, but going outside to walk around every single day. Like, I want to challenge you to do that. From the moment you decide you taking this step, you taking a new journey, even if it's just 5 minutes. And if you could take your shoes off, cool. I know it's cold right now everywhere, but if you could take your shoes off and do it, even beautiful, even better. Sometimes when I don't feel like going out here and it's cold or on my patio or whatever, and it's just like, it's too cold to be out there today, I would just sit up in my bed and I do my meditation first thing when I wake up before I write whatever I'm going to write for that day. So grounding is extremely important. If I had to say that is the most, if I had to pick one do that is the most important, that is the one. That's the one. Stay grounded in this thing. Like, don't let people make you start to feel like this is about rank or this is about always, like, you can have a good human experience and still be an amazing spiritualist, an amazing healer, an amazing whatever your role is. Whatever your role is in this realm, you can do both. You can. And in fact, learning to balance both, that's why I mentioned that heart chakra, learning to balance both, learning to do things from the heart, that's like the ultimate goal, and that's the ultimate grounding. I'll move on. All right, next one. Observe before participating. So like I said, there are different sectors even within spirituality. You got the hoodoo groups, you have Ifa, you have other ATRs, you even up under Ifa, you have Isheshe, you have Lukumi. There are so many different things. You have Voodoo, Voodoo, you have so many different categories of spiritual experience, because some things we don't like to call religion, even though they operate just like religion. Like at a point, I used to refer to Ifa as a religion, but a lot of people will say, well, it's not a religion, it is a tradition, it is a way of life. And I get that, and I was a part of it. I absolutely respect it. I love it. For everything that it taught me. I am absolutely still an Oshun priestess. That will forever be with me, because that was a part of my journey. That was a part of my walk to walk. So that will forever be with me. However, me knowing what I know now, I'm gonna call a thing, and in terms of what religious systems are and look like, a lot of those are practiced just like religion. So the main point was, do your research and observe before you jump into things. Before I initiated to anything within Ifa, I was a part of the Ile, which is our community, like the church of the tradition, if you will. I was a part of our Ile for 3 years before I got a hand in anything, before I initiated anything. And even with the time that I was in it, like, I was still a baby in it. People are in that thing 10, 20, 30 years before they are considered, true OGs of those things. Same with hoodoo. Like, and you will hear a lot of people say how that is a closed practice anyway. And particularly they will say closed to Black people. But even that, you have to if you're going to go those routes, you have to get up under good elders, good people that you've researched and are good, who are truly doing the work. And then, even then, after you've observed that this is good people, this is a good situation for me, you observe. If I had any regrets about my experience at all, this would be the one. Taking more time to just watch before you jump in to participate, because you're going to be so ready, you're going to be so eager, and you're ready for all the things. But remember, this is new to you. You want a new journey. You're becoming a different version of yourself. You don't want to be doing all of that and then just jump into something when you don't really have your footing yet. You don't have your foundation laid as who you are now, who you are becoming. Lay that foundation first. And in that process, observe these other groups, and you'll maybe learn and see what resonates with you. And this goes along with even just doing spell work and doing all this stuff y'all seeing online. It's like, I don't want to sit here and act like no gatekeeper of the stuff, like people can't do what they want to do. You can, but learn about this stuff first. Don't just go do no damn spell you seen somebody put on TikTok. Oh, this look like it might work for this, and I'm gonna go do this. If anything, if you believe in it that much, get with the person who's talking about it and watch them for a while. Observe them, see what their results are. Watch their audience, see what they have on their website. And if you need something, like if you want a spell or something done, I encourage. So this one's hard to talk about because I believe everybody, you have the power to do these things for yourself. You do have that power, you just don't know it yet. And as you grow into the version of yourself that you're becoming, you're going to get more confident in doing that. But we talking about being new to this. So I'm going to stick with giving that information. If you are new, don't just jump out here doing all these spells and all this weird stuff. Get you some candles. Use those candles in prayer to connect. If you decide to go the altar route of doing an ancestor altar, beautiful. There's plenty of videos on here about what that should look like, what you should have on there. Use that first. Use your tools. Use those things that you have first before you jump out here calling yourself trying to put spells on people. It's a lot of people out here doing spiritual work who are absolutely in violation. They ain't doing no divination first. They're not barely asking you the right questions. They're just collecting your coin. That's the bottom line of this. So do observe before you jump into these practices. And so I said that to say it's not just, I don't mean just jumping into different religious groups or traditions. Before you jump into spell work, any kind of work, observe what is going on around you. Use the tools you already have. Use yourself. Use your head. Use your heart. Use your mouth with prayer. And as you do that, you'll become more versed in knowing how to identify and not get tricked. Because there's a lot of that going on. Okay? All right. Last do. And as y'all can see, we had about 27 minutes. So there's going to be a part 2B or part 2.5 for the don'ts and more things to stay away from. I know during my do's, I gave you some things to stay away from, but the last do we have, keep your discernment active. Always. There is never a time where somebody else should be fully in control of making your decisions for you when it comes to your spiritual journey. There is never a time where you should not be the one calling the shots. And one thing, how do I say this? The reason I try not to be offensive is because this is a sidebar. The reason I'm making sure to not be offensive, it ain't about being scary. It ain't about, it's about respect for the things that I've done, the things that I've been a part of, and respect for everybody's religion or spiritual journey. I'm not one of them people you gonna hear sitting up calling people stupid for any particular route. You're not gonna find that here, because everybody has their journey to go on. Any truly spiritual person knows and understands that your journey and what you decide for this particular lifetime, that's what you chose, and that's your route. So you're never gonna hear me calling nobody stupid for that. But what I want to say is this: your discernment is gonna be your most powerful tool moving forward. On this journey, getting to these higher realms, it's okay to ask questions. It is okay to challenge things that don't sound right, don't look right, don't make sense. That is where the research and the observation come in at. That's why you're doing the observation before you jump into things to participate. So you get the opportunity to develop and fine-tune your discernment. Because without discernment, you're going to have more missteps than you need to. You're going to have people telling you to do things that don't really sound right. But if you're not in a space of discernment and observing and things like that, you just gonna do it. You're gonna do it because it's like, okay, I'm here, I want to be a part of this. This is what they said I need to do next, so that's what I'm gonna do. Do keep your discernment active. That's my last do. We at 30 minutes, y'all. By the time I edit, it's I don't know. I try to get it down a little bit, but I don't like these to be super long because I want you to be able to get the information, take it in, and then we move on to the next thing. But so obviously that's my 6 do's. I didn't even make it to the don't stay in the back of the page. So that being the case, there will be a part 2B. If you have not, please like, please subscribe, do the things so you can get all the, or hit the notification bell even so you can get the notifications for the future versions. Because at this point, if you are new to spirituality, is now a series. And because there's so much more we're gonna get into. And I hope that you got something out of this. If you did, let me know what it was. If you don't want to be that detailed, just leave me a little yellow heart in the comments. I appreciate that. Anyway, y'all be well. I'm gonna do the same.